This video is about creating memories and joy for parents and grandparents who are in isolation. And it can also help take the stress off often the daughters or family members that are feeling really responsible for creating a better quality of life. So here's a suggestion I shared with a coaching client. She came to me saying, I'm really stressed. My dad lives alone. My mother-in-law is in lockdown in a home. And one of my daughter-in-laws needs to go to work. She needs safe babysitting. And she's really, she's stressed. She has a lot on her plate. And so we looked for solutions on how she could do this differently. And I shared with her something I did in my family. This was a number of years back. My parents were in a home. And I thought it'd be fun if I created a memory book of their life and the history of their life and our family. So I did that. I created this book. I went to my brothers and I asked them, what are some stories for you remember growing up on the farm? I put this in a Word document. We scanned the pictures. Each family gave a sort of a little history of their family. And I created a book of scanning from back when they first met to, their life on the farm and all those things. And I bound it and sent it to them. And little did I know that every afternoon they read this book to each other. And the care workers would come in and they would say, oh, what are you reading today? What's the story today? Until the book was absolutely tattered and torn. And when I realized that, I did another copy for them. And so I shared this with my client and said, there are ways that you can engage your parents. Nothing is better than their memories. They don't have a lot to talk about. They don't see a lot of people. And so if you can talk to them about their memories. So, what I did, I went through the box of pictures and I would pick some out and I would say, what about this picture, Dad? It shows that you were a farmer and what was going on that day. Or maybe Mom had a garden she loved. And then it creates and sparks a memory. And it also sparks, feelings of back then and that their life mattered. And my brother, who lived in Estevan, where I'm from, it's hard to go visit them sometimes because they don't have a lot to talk about, right? So he decided he was going to start taking down the history. So every time he went, he'd say, tell me what it was like for growing up and what sort of things did you do? And we discovered things like my dad self-taught himself as an accordion player. He started playing for dances at 14 years old, going by horse and buggy. He had his own radio program in Regina, Saskatchewan that was sponsored by the Army and Navy store. Your parents have great stories and memories too. And so what I suggested, and so then I did that as well. And when it came to the eulogy, we had these great stories to tell about their life. And the funeral home director said to me, that's one of the best eulogies I've ever heard. And it was about learning about, their life. And so what I suggested to her was to start doing this in her family. What she could do is you can take a picture and you can scan it on your phone, you can go print it, and maybe every week you drop off a picture or two. And then you phone them up and say, hey, tell me about this picture. You can also create a schedule within your family with your kids even, on Sunday night, I'm going to talk to Grandpa and Grandma about this picture. And then the next night it can be the son or the daughter. This also teaches your kids responsibility, compassion, caring, empathy, and they can learn some really, really great things. We did a cork board where on this cork board, each of my siblings had a part on it. And we would send pictures and then they would be put up there and the caregivers would, oh, who's that? And what are they doing? And tell me about them. It helps the caregivers to engage with them as well. And if someone, Tuesday night is their schedule for talking and they can't make it, it's up to them to negotiate with someone else. Hey, well, can we switch nights or whatever? This will not be a burden. I guarantee you it will be really entertaining and fascinating. How did you and mom meet and what was it like? And those stories are fascinating. Um, and it keeps the conversation going. Maybe the next week it's your siblings' turn. And then when you phone, you can say, well, what did you talk about with grandpa or grandpa? What did you tell them? And you share all these stories. We got together with my mom and dad on their 70th wedding anniversary, which was a number of years ago. And so we had the whole family there, parents, grandchildren, children, great grandchildren. And I interviewed my brothers what it was like to grow up on the farm. And these kids were just mesmerized. And my brother was telling this story about every morning you go into the barn and the same cow tries to put you through the wall. So you twist its tail, you sit down, you start milking away, and every day this cow attempts, after about the pail is half full, to kick over the pail. Stories like that, or haying, or those things, like the kids were just, they were mesmerized about that. You have these stories in your own family, and it really is important that you capture your history. One of the funny stories my kids enjoy, my dad called himself a golfer, but he was a very impatient man, and he was always moving. And so he would take the grandchildren out to golf, and he would hit the ball, and they would start walking. And when he came up to the ball, he wouldn't break stride. He just whacked the ball, and he'd keep on walking. These are memories and stories that everybody cherishes. And I really encourage you to do something like this. This would be a great Christmas project to get everybody involved in. And truly, it's not hard. Open a Word document, scan some pictures, create some pages, maybe different people. Oh, and the other thing I want to mention to you is I said to my brothers, will you send me some stories and whatnot? Well, I didn't get anything back. And, they didn't know how to sit down and take the time to do that. So I phoned them up and I said, just tell me and I will capture it. So I typed it out and I put it in the book for them. Make it easy for people to participate. You can also interview them with your phone. Tell me what it was like, and then somebody can type it up and put it in the book. I'll tell you, this book of memories brought my parents so much joy, and it can for you too, and it can be a way of helping them when they are isolated, when they are lonely, and keeping them connected to the family. Thanks for tuning in today, and if you have any questions, let me know. I love creating solutions for my coaching clients. And my dad, at the end of the session, my client was, oh, this feels so much better. I don't need to do it all myself. And it will be fun. We'll figure out how to make it fun for the family. And I'll get their cooperation and see how they feel they can do it. So give it a go. It would be a fabulous Christmas gift for your parents and grandparents.